A positive jobs report and a strong employment rate have not been enough to change some Americans' views on the economy, with inflation overshadowing any job growth numbers. According to new CBS News polling, about 2/3 of those asked say rising costs have been difficult or even a hardship, forcing many to make cuts. Let's bring in Caitlin Huey-Burns to take a closer look at some of the polling. Caitlin, good to see you.
Hi, good morning.
So let's talk about President Biden's approval rating and where it stands right now, and what pollsters are saying attributes to that number.
That's right. Well, in our new CBS poll, 42% say they approve of Biden's job as president. Now, that's down a point from last month, and that's actually the lowest number of his presidency so far. So what's driving all of this? Well, voters are saying their top concerns are inflation, the economy, crime, and immigration. And on all of those issues, the president is getting low approval ratings. And 65% in our poll say that he could be doing more on gas prices. And so the economy and inflation are really driving these low approval ratings and raising questions about what the president should be doing about it.
So can we drill down on the economy and inflation and just, you know, how Americans feel about it and what they think how much they think President Biden's decisions is responsible for this?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, there's some really interesting data in our poll that shows that people feel generally good about the economy in their local markets. They're giving it pretty high grades. But when asked about the overall economy, that's where these lower numbers come in. And when asked about what's driving that sentiment, it's inflation and kind of the national overall mood. Remember, on paper, the economy looks pretty good. The unemployment rate is down to 3.6%. That's a low number. But people are feeling kind of anxious about the overall economy because of higher prices. About 66% of people in the poll say that the higher prices are creating difficulty or even hardship. And they may be cutting back on things. And that has, implications for the broader economy. Most people say they're cutting back on discretionary things like going out or traveling, but also a majority say that they are likely cutting back on things like groceries. So if you're spending less, that has a broader implications for the economy, but also politically speaking, raises some concerns for the Biden administration and Democrats heading into this midterm election year.
So, Caitlin, I guess the question is, what are your sources, Democrats basically, telling you? What I mean is the sources who are Democrats. I don't mean your sources are all Democrats. Just want to make clear, because you know how people can be on social media. What I mean to say is, of the Democrats that you're speaking with, what are they telling you about how they can do a better message or do a better job of delivering the message that, in fact, the economy is strong? Yes, inflation is an issue, but there are other numbers that they can point to. So the voters, they can address the voters' concerns heading into the midterms.
That's right, Vlad. I've spent the last few weeks talking to lawmakers on Capitol Hill, and both Democrats and Republicans. So I'll tell you what Democrats are saying. Right now, they're very clear-eyed about what the issues are here. They say they know their constituents are concerned about higher prices, inflation especially. So there are things that they believe that the Biden administration can do in the short term and the long term, and this has been echoed by the administration as well. So what you're going to see this week, actually, the president is headed to Iowa tomorrow to talk about the economy, and some things that they want to message on are blaming these price hikes on what's happening in Ukraine. They are trying to call the increase in gas prices the Putin price hike. That's something that you're going to be hearing a lot about. The Biden administration has authorized tapping into the oil reserves that could help, they believe, lower some prices. They are also, Democrats on Capitol Hill were bringing in oil company executives last week to grill them on these price gouging that they've accused them of. So that's from a messaging and political standpoint. They're trying to pin it on that. Now, we'll see kind of how voters believe that is affecting them. Republicans have been arguing that, look, these increases have been happening for a while. They came before the Russian invasion of of Ukraine, so you can't just blame it all on that. The other thing that Democrats want to do kind of in the longer term are, becoming less reliant on a foreign supply chain. I mean, that's created a lot of these issues in terms of rising costs coming out of this pandemic and the global supply chain. They're also going to be touting infrastructure. The bill that passed earlier this year, you're going to see Democrats campaigning in front of bridges and roads and projects. You're going to see a lot of ads probably with kind of infrastructure top of mind, because that they believe that is something to address some of these rising costs. Talking to Republicans, they say that, look, when you're hearing from voters, they're saying inflation, the economy are top of mind. They're also saying crime is top of mind. We're seeing that as resonating in our poll as well. They are saying that the Biden administration is not doing enough to lower these prices. They believe that they could be doing more drilling here at home. Now, the Biden administration has argued that a lot of these leases have not been taken up yet, and that would, of course, be a longer-term issue not to address these costs in the short term. The president has very little to do with gas prices, but when we're looking at kind of the political implications of all of this, it's a way that voters use to measure their own personal feelings about the economy. So while there might be little that the administration can do to lower prices, voters feel like that's the way they measure the economy. If things are costing more, if gas prices are high, that kind of colors their overall feeling of the economy, even if it looks good on paper.
Yeah, they say, what do they say? All politics is local. It's really all the economy is local. It's your
That's
local
right.
economy
It's the
in your
economy
household.
stupid. That's the old from the 70s, or I think it was from the 70s or early 80s.
Yeah.
It's the economy stupid.
Caitlin, thank you very much.
Thank you.